House Leader of the Fourth Party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Over the last 4 years, this government's reckless and unscientific COVID mandates have driven more than 7,000 healthcare workers out of the system, gutting frontline care and putting British Columbians' lives at risk. Even after walking back these mandates, the government doubled down, forcing workers to disclose vaccine status, reapply for their own jobs, and return to work with not a penny of back pay. And unbelievably, they're still holding the threat of new mandates over their heads. Our healthcare system has crashed and burned under the weight of critical staff shortages that this government has created. So my question for the Minister of Health is this: will she finally admit that her government's COVID mandates damaged our healthcare system and that it was an unforgivable betrayal of the very people we rely on to keep us healthy and alive?
Mr. Premier.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. It's hard to think of a better example of the challenge of discussing public health care, the need to protect vulnerable kids and seniors who are in healthcare environments and long-term care and hospital. It's hard to think of a better example of how hard it is to have these conversations in this House with an example of the ideology that has been brought into this House by the Conservative Party. This anti-vax philosophy, which has no grounding in science, proposes to send unvaccinated workers into our long-term care facilities and hospitals with children who are fighting cancer, with seniors who are clinging to life, and expose them to COVID and the flu and measles. It is incomprehensible. It is unforgivable. Raising anxiety among British Columbians about vaccination right at the beginning of flu season, when we need people to go out and get vaccines to protect vulnerable populations, an act of service for all British Columbians, to attack that act of service, to say that it is problematic and wrong, it's a betrayal. And that ideology was brought into this House by the Conservative Party, and I think they owe British Columbians an apology.
Thank you, members. Thank you. That member who asked the question belongs to 1BC, not Conservative Party, so please have a supplemental. Thank you.
I actually do appreciate that myself, for the distinction. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. This government, that Premier, treated British Columbians like guinea pigs, forcing experimental procedures on them without their consent. Let's face it, the numbers don't lie. All 7 doctors in the obstetrics department in Kamloops are gone. The pediatrics unit in Kelowna, gone. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, Mr. Speaker. The devastation here is far and wide. So if the Health Minister and the Premier is expecting an applause for the careers wrecked and the lives upended by these unscientific mandates, well, they won't be getting that from me. I stand in this House for the voice of those who don't have a voice here, the thousands of healthcare workers this government cast aside. Here's one other question that deserves an answer. Maybe I can get it. Will the Premier himself apologize to the healthcare workers whose lives were derailed by this government's punitive COVID policies?